Another kind of non-argument that folks oftentimes confuse for being an argument are conditional statements. And we're going to do a pretty good look at conditional statements and just how they function here in a couple of months when we get to a kind of logic called truth functional logic. They're really interesting kinds of statements, but they're not by themselves arguments. They just sometimes look like an argument. What a conditional statement does is it says if a particular set of conditions exists, then there will be another set of conditions that will also exist. But a conditional statement doesn't assert that either of those conditions actually exist, just that if one does, then the other will as well. So here's a typical conditional statement. If Taryn reads her logic book and does her thought primer exercises every night, then she wants to do well in Phil 12. Now, if you look carefully at that statement, it's not saying that Taryn reads the book or does her thought primer exercises. It's not saying she wants to do well in Phil 12. It's just saying this. If the set of conditions that Taryn reads her logic book and does her thought primer exercises every night exists, then this other set of conditions, her wanting to do well in Phil 12, will also exist. But it's not saying that either one of those conditions actually exist. Okay, so if-then statements are classic conditional kinds of statements, but they can take other forms, like this statement here, given that Sam works at Murphy's Market, she pays taxes. Doesn't provide any evidence that she pays taxes. Doesn't provide any evidence that Sam works at Murphy's Market. It just says that given that, or if that, she works at Murphy's Market, then she pays taxes. Same thing with the next statement. Bryn will go to the party only if Jason also goes. Doesn't say either of them is going to the party or not going to the party. It just says that Bryn will go only if. Okay, so all of these are conditional statements and are not by themselves arguments, but they can be turned into arguments. So take a look at this, for example. If Taryn reads her logic book and does all her thought primer exercises every night, then she wants to do well in Phil 12 because logic is so torturous, no one would do it for fun, but only for a good grade. Okay, so now we have an argument because we have a reason being offered in support of the conditional statement. A more sort of classic presentation of an argument that uses conditional statements might look like this. If Taryn reads her logic book and does all her thought primer exercises every night, then she wants to do well in Phil 12. Taryn reads her logic book and does her thought primer exercises every night. Therefore, she wants to do well in Phil 12. This is a really classic, in fact, it has a name, modus ponens. This is a classic form of argument that's using a conditional statement as one of the premises. All right, so conditional statements, super useful, super interesting, super powerful, but not by themselves arguments.